Now sure why I have been called here. I'm not a climate scientist. I'm basically a taxonomist. I love to be a taxonomy as my subject. But fortunately enough, I was in James Cook University at Australia working on the Great Barrier Reef on the coral bleaching. And also on the basis of the experiment that we have carried out at Australia, we have developed a regional and research center at Port Blair in Andaman, Coral Reef Research Center. So probably maybe the reason that I've been invited to speak on a subject because I'm from the marine ecosystem studies. That is my primary subject. Friends, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce you three important aspects here. One is the impact, second one is the climate change, and third one is the marine ecosystem. So there are three. I don't want to take a much introductory part of it. Enough has flown in the morning hours. So I'll just directly go into the subject because the time is quite short also. Now I will take you back to 4.6 billion years ago when the Earth was in the molten state. It solidified. I do not want to go into how the origin of the Earth took place, whereas the meteorite has joined and collided and formed an Earth, or various theories of Earth formation is there. So I will not go into the detail, but the Earth belongs to somewhere around 4.6 billion years ago. It was in a molten state. It solidified. And solidified, there are at that particular time, there was only gases, nitrate, water vapor, carbon dioxide, like that. So this entire thing, the water vapor condensed into what is known as the oceans. So life originated in ocean. The life originated in ocean, and they say that the earliest life formation is in the ocean, the marine ecosystem. Then I will go back to I'll quickly go back. Then a question really arises whether the Earth has remained same since 4.6 billion years ago. And what was the situation of the Earth at that particular period? Look at this one. The entire Earth, the topmost part is what you call the Earth crust. Then we have got a mantle, then core and other things. The Earth crust is made up of several plates. In fact, it is made up of about 10 or 12 plates. It depends. 157 is the smallest plates if all taken together. Nearly about 157 plates are there. But I do not go into the smaller plates, but there are 10 to 12 plates are there. And this entire Earth is what we call it as the supercontinent, or what is known as the Pangea. The entire Earth is made up of plates, and the entire thing was a single one, that is known as the Pangea, or the supercontinent. That is about 4.6 billion years ago to 3.5 million years ago. So that was the situation at that particular period. Now you know that one, the entire continent was a single unit. Then just like our cell division in the mitosis, one has become two. So do look at this one. This is the Pangea. The Pangea divided into two parts, the northern part and the southern parts. The northern part is what you call the Laurasia. The second part is known as the Gondwana. The larger part, the northern part, Laurasia, the plates of the Laurasia differentiated into North and South America. So the north part has become what we call the North and South America. The rest of the world is what we call the Gondwana line. The India belongs to Gondwana system, Gondwana. So that is about 100 million years ago. Then later, all the plates, smaller plates, started moving in different directions, and that is what we call as continental drift theory or plate tectonic theory. Way back in 1932, Alfred Wegener, one of the greatest scientists, said Earth is made up of plates, started moving in different directions, and the present day continent is mainly because of the movement of these plates. So nobody believed him till 1960. Only in 1960, yes, he was correct. That is what you call the plate tectonics are there. The plates started moving in different directions from the present day scenario of what we call it as the present day Earth. I'm sorry. The present day Earth. You can see this one. If you look at particularly Indian map, the India was inside a sea. The sea is what is known as the Tethys Sea. It was once upon a time 100 million years ago, it was attached with the African continent. Then with the Madagascar, it started moving away from the Madagascar. It started moving over Seychelles. Seychelles is again a small island. And then it moved into the north and northeast and collided with the Asia component, and a new set of mountain was formed. That mountain is what you call the Himalayan mountain. The youngest chain of mountain is the Himalayan mountain that was formed about 10 million years ago. So that is the situation. This is what is known as the continental drift theory. So there was a change at that particular 4.6 billion years ago. When it was in a molten state, it solidified. So climate change is not a new one. Climate change has started already way back in 4.6 billion years ago. And then I will go back again. Life was formed about 350 million years ago from a simple, what you call the protein, by uniting the amino acids. Amino acids joined together to form the protein, and this protein became the nucleic acid, the DNA, RNA. I will not go into the detail about whether the DNA is formed first or the RNA is formed first. So there are various theories are again there. Then ultimately there is an evolution of the life from a single cell animal, single cell plant into the present day situation is nearly about 0.05 million years ago. The human beings, or what we call it as the flowering plants, have developed. So second important point in the entire universe is what we call the evolution of life. There are various theories of evolution of life, origin of life and evolution of life. You go the Eurus theory and micromutation theory. Various theories are there. I do not again go into the detail about the various theories. Now, in the entire history of the Earth, from 350 million years ago to the present day situation, there are large number of species were formed. This is what we call the speciation. At the same time, large number of animals and plants died in en masse. This is what is called as extinctions, mass extinctions. So species were formed, species were lost, and not single one or two. There are hundreds of such species were lost in the entire geological period of 350 million years ago. So that is, we have got records. These records are nothing but the fossil records. If you look at the entire geological history, there were 5 extinctions, such extinction. You can see this one. Okay, I will tell you in the next slide. You can see here, the first extinction took place at about 440 million years ago. The second one about 374 million years ago. The third one is Permian extinction was 250 million years ago. The fourth one is Jurassic, and the recent one is the Cretaceous. So Earth has 4 extinctions, 5 extinctions already taken place. 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the entire history of the extinction, you can see this one, large number of plants and animals that died. You can see about 95% of the existing were lost. 80% of the existing were lost, or 76% like that one. A large number of plants and animals were lost in the entire course of geological history. This is known as what we call the extinction. So speciation and extinction goes hand in hand. This is one of the important aspects that you have to know. So what we come across during this one, the first extinction, you can see this one, Ordovician or a mass extinction. The first one, what you call the trilobite. The primitive, what is on the arthropods. The primitive arthropods were lost. The second one, look at this one, Devonian extinction. It is known as the age of fishes. Some of the fishes completely lost today, no more available. If you look at the third one, amphibians were lost. The fourth one, the major extinction. This was on the Triassic and Jurassic extinction. It is about what we call the reptiles. The snakes and lizards and crocodiles and turtles were lost in a large scale. And most of these extinction you can see is volcanic activity. It may also due to the flooding, global climate change, and changing in the pH and sea level at the oceans. So these are some of the facts. So that means to say the extinction have taken place, and it is happened the entire geological history. If you look at this particularly, there were 900 species of dinosaurs. 900 species of dinosaurs completely wiped out on the earth. This is during the Cretaceous period, Jurassic period. So you can see the mass extinction. Now what we see today is our what we call it as what we are seeing is today is the sixth extinction. So we are in the process of sixth extinction. So between one extinction to other extinction, from first to second, second to third, third to fourth, and fourth to fifth, there was a huge period of time. But in this particular aspect of it, sixth extinction, the rate of extinction, the rate of loss of plants and animals have increased substantially. You can say that when scientists are estimated 75% of the species inhabiting Earth will go to extinct, will not be available at all for the human being. So this is the situation. We are in the process of sixth extinction. Now if you look at the sixth extinction, look at this one. Each one is 100 species. The red one is on the verge of extinction. There are large number of plants and animals, amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and various groups are likely to be extinct in the years to come. Or what we call the rate of extinction has substantially increased. You see, 41% of the amphibians are likely to be lost. 26% of the mammals are likely to be lost. 14% of the birds, sharks and rays. Look at the reef, coral reefs and crustaceans. So we are likely to lose large number of plants and animals in the process of time. This is mainly because of the human activity. And also you can see this one, 1 in 10,000. You can see I have given it, 1 in 10,000 are in the verge of extinction, are likely to lose. So this is the situation or the scenario. Now, if you take this one, the date of extinction into one account, are likely to be extinction rate. So if you look at this one, before 1600, there were only six animals were lost. If you come to 1900 to 2000, the number of animals and plants are of 63 recorded ones. Now, if all the critically endangered, and the vulnerable is taken, it may lead to 2,200 species are completely likely to be lost in the process. So the rate of extinction is likely to be increased, and this is mainly because the human activity. Mass extinction is caused by man, and this is what we call it as Holocene extinction or Anthropocene extinction. So man is completely involved in losing all the plants and animals on the earth. Now look at this one. There is a human population also. There is a graph showing the human population and the rate of extinction also. The rate of extinction has increased because of the human population. And then you can see 37,400 scientists are involved in this biodiversity crisis. So they are finding out what exactly the reason for loss of life, the loss of human beings, the loss of animals and plants over the earth. This is what is going on in this one. Look at this one. There is a World Wildlife Fund, WWF. They are working upon the vertebrate groups. Look at this one. What was the reason for this extinction? One of the reasons is, you can see, habitat degradation, change in the habitat. So it is about 31%, and 37% is because we are exploiting more than what is needed. 37% is mainly we are losing it, and 7% is mainly because of the climate change. Climate change is also responsible for the loss of lives of this one, and habitat loss and others are there. If you take 100% returns, if you just look at this one, if you take 100 population index in 1970 as 100, now we are come to 62% now. population has decreased, especially species diversity has come down like anything. Now, whether it may be terrestrial, whether it may be freshwater or marine, all animal species are coming down and down. This is the situation, and this is one part of this one is what is called as the climate change is responsible. Now, this is mainly because of what we call the biodiversity crisis. There is a crisis of the animals and plants. This we normally call it as the biodiversity crisis. This biodiversity crisis is mainly because of the 5 important factors or drivers. The first one is the change in the habit or habitat loss. The loss of habitat is one of the important. The second one is species coming from the outside, invasive alien species. Species or plants and animals coming from the other country. For example, you have heard of lantana, you have heard of Eichhornia. They are not ours. They have come to our place and spoiled the entire scenario. So you can see the lantana throughout India. It has brought as an ornamental plant. Now it has spread throughout because this is a tropical country which is congenial for the plants and animals to survive. So that is how we have come. The third one is we are exploiting more than what is required. That is what we call the over-exploitation. The fourth one is the pollution, what may be land pollution, water pollution, or the air pollution is also responsible. And the last one is what we call the climate change. 7% is mainly because of the climate change. So let me speak on the climate change. So these are the drivers. So what will happen? And the entire economic activity or the economic GDP is going to come down. You are likely to lose 2 to 5 trillion euros if this continues. And look at this one. What are ecosystem, species extinction, ecological communities, biomass, nature of indigenous people, all are affected because of this extinction rate. The rate of extinction has increased substantially over the years. Now, this is the reason why we are looking for climate change or the global warming. What exactly the climate change and global warming? I'll just give you a small introduction about that one. Before that, I want to tell you 2 important organizations, 2 important world bodies, or 2 important WHO or what is known as the United Nations organizations are responsible for taking care of this climate change. The one is Convention on Biodiversity, CBD, which was held in 1992 at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So there are 3 important points in that one. The first one is the biological diversity. We have to conserve them. The second important point is we have to use them in a way that is sustainable, that is sustainable utilization. The third one is whatever benefit you get from that one has to be shared with all, fair and equitable sharing of the resources. And lastly, the fourth one is access to genetics resources is yet another one, and appropriate transfer of relevant technologies because we are underdeveloped. We are likely to be developed into a developed country. So there are some technologies that have to come from developed countries to the underdeveloped countries. So this is yet another important thing that is. And we know that one, this entire convention of biological diversity is related with the climate. So there is a relation between climate change and the biological diversity. And this convention, you know what is a convention and an act? An act is a one which is passed by a parliament with a 2/3 majority. Wildlife Protection Act, Air Act, Water Act, Environmental Protection Act. So these are the acts that has been passed by the parliament with a 2/3 majority. Whereas convention one is an understanding, is an agreement between 2 or more countries. Unilateral, bilateral, trilateral, quadrilateral or multilateral agreements. So agreement between the different countries is known as multilateral agreement. 195 countries have agreed. That is, we need to protect biodiversity. We need to take up the important facts about the biodiversity. But unfortunately, look at all this one is yet the United States of America has not signed for this biodiversity agreement because they want all the benefits, but they don't want to commit anything about biodiversity. This is the unfortunate part of it. Is you can see that 196 countries have agreed as on today. Everyone has agreed except this Alaska part on the United States of America. This is a very unfortunate part. So that is the same reason I'll go and give you the other one. So look at this one. How much money we are losing by losing the biodiversity. You can see them in terms of billions of dollars. You can see them how much genetic variability has affected. You can see them how much what is known as soil quality and retention has affected. You can also see them how much estimated US producers, and you can see them in terms of the billions. So this is what we call as the biodiversity loss. So this is because of what is one part of it is the climate change. Now if you look at the climate change was established in 1988. So I am going to the preliminary one only. I'm not going to the higher level at this one. So 1988 was the first when climate change was formed, or WMO under United Nations Environmental Program. So it was in 2005, 1995. Subsequently, 2005, there was an agreement. This agreement is normally known as the Kyoto Protocol, or what we call it as the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement or the Kyoto Protocol. And there was subsequently then the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change. IPCC was formed in 2005. So this is how so you may ask me what exactly the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement is nothing but we need to contain the temperature less than 1.5 degrees centigrade. Now the change over the 100 years is not more than 0.8 to 1 degree centigrade. If it can happen, if it can change to such an extent, devastating extent, if it goes beyond 1.5 or 2 degrees centigrade, you can imagine what will happen. So that is the reason why we need to contain the temperature of the Earth less than 1.5 in the 1900 program. So this is what we call the agreement. Again, look at this one. Look at this one. Again, everybody has agreed. Again, Australia and United States of America has, as on today, has not signed for the climate change agreement. So they want the benefit because the highest polluters are in the United States of America. So as on today, you can see that one. These are the red ones, not signed or ratified or declined. They have declined. You can imagine this is United Nations Framework for the Climate Change, UNFCCC. So as on today, they are the highest polluters in the world are the United States of America, and as on today, they have not ratified or agreed for the principle of IPCC. Now, what exactly is that one? Number one is we have to keep it below 1.5 degrees centigrade. The change over the 100 years is only 0.8 to 1.2 degrees centigrade. So we need to keep the temperature below 1.5 degrees centigrade above that normals. And then not only temperature, we need to keep sea level rise. There is 0.4 millimeter rise in the sea level every year. And I'll come back to that one, more about that one at a later stage. So this is how the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement. Look at this one. If it increases to 4 degrees centigrade, what will happen? This is 2 to 4 billion costs, 7 million deaths, and you can see that one is about the deaths, diseases, due to diseases, it will be 250,000 deaths if it increases to 4 degrees centigrade. So Vector diseases, vector-prone diseases will increase substantially if there is a rise in the temperature of this one. So it is for this reason we need to keep the temperature intact. ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಸೆಲ್ ಹೋಗಿದೆ ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅದು ಹೋಗ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಅದು ಇನ್ನು ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ Now that is in 2022, Honorable Prime Minister visited the Paris and they have made an agreement wherein the scientific evidence is unequivocal. That the climate change which is unequivocal, climate change is a threat to the human well-being and to the health of the planet also. This is what has happened, and this is the IPCC has given a clear indication that the climate change is responsible for the entire loss of life and the entire human scenario. There are a lot of hue and cry throughout the world. Somebody wanted to have a climate change format. Somebody did not want, especially American, did not like to have the climate change. Higgs signed this climate change agreement. So there was a lot of, you can see the Guardian and other this one. So lot of plus and minus, for and against of the climate change has happened. Now, what exactly this IPCC? Now look at this. The function is they have to, objective is to open a transparent basis for the scientific, technical and socio-economic information relevant to the understanding the scientific basis of the risk human-induced climate change, its potential impact and the options for adaptation and mitigation. And that is the most important, what is one of the objective of the IPCC. This is the objective of the IPCC. Now, the next one comes climate. We usually call climate. What exactly is climate? The climate is exactly made up of 4 factors. One is the humidity. The second one is light intensity. Third one is the precipitation and rainfall. And the fourth one is the temperature. So these are the basic factors about the climate. And this in turn is dependent upon various other factors, the slope and other factors. These are the most important factors about the climate. Now this climate, there is a modeling, the Hadley modeling at the United Kingdom. So they make models. And this is what we call the climate change models. And in these climate change models, first in 1975, they were taken what exactly was the atmosphere is taken as a single unit. Subsequently in the various years, you can see in 1985, 92, 93 and recently, all these factors of atmospheric chemistry, carbon cycle, non-sulfate, sulfur aerosol, ocean and sea, land surface, everything has been taken and a climate change model has been come. So what we say about 100 years is based upon these factors. Originally it was only one, subsequently all were added, and the climate change is mainly based upon these factors. Now this is how it has happened. Now, in the 6th in 2022, when they want to find out the sea level change, not only from the aerial with the satellite technology, there is a ground truth data also has been taken. Look at the places where they have assessed. It is not just only sitting in their lab and then continuing it. So they have taken assessment throughout the world in the coastal area. How much, whether it has risen, whether it has come down. So these are some of the important aspects by NASA and various other groups of organizations have taken into account about the climate change. This is about the sea level change. Now, you also need to understand there is a difference. Normally we speak about the climate change with global warming. The global warming refers usually to the temperature, average increase in the average temperature, whereas the climate change is temperature, humidity, rainfall, and weather pattern. And it is not 1 or 2 years. This year is very hot, next year is very slow, very cold. It is taken in a very long average of minimum 50 years. It could be 100 years also, or minimum 50 years is the most important thing. So there is a definition for a climate change. This is the definition what a climate change is. I will not go, please read yourself. Now, what are the factors that has affected throughout? The first one is temperature. The temperature is affected. Now, you can look at the temperature anomaly here between 1880 to 2020. 2022 also has come up. Now, you can see this one. It has risen to the extent of 0.8 degree to 1 degree centigrade. 0.8 to 1 degree. It has not increased more than that one. So, within 100 years, 1880 to 2000, no, only about 0.8 degree increase in the temperature. This is the total increase in the temperature, average temperature of the world. And next one, you can see this one. In between 2016 to 2020, there was a very small variation also. This is how the climate temperature has been calculated from 1951 or 1880 to the 2020. Subsequent has not come up, so it will come up in the next 2023. After 2023, it will come up because they are calculating up to 2022. So you can see this is all data coming from the NRSA or NASA and other organizations. Now, at the same time, there is an increase in the temperature of the ocean also. Sea surface temperature, SST. So it has also increased substantially to the extent of 1 degree to 1.2 degrees. So sea surface temperature has also increased substantially between 0.8 to 1.2 degrees centigrade throughout about 120 years. Now you can see this temperature over the years, how it was in 1880 and 2020. You can see again it is somewhere around 1 degree centigrade. 1.2 degrees centigrade has increased substantially even in the sea surface temperature and from the normal average that has been calculated. Now you can see this one. The next one is the carbon dioxide. The increase in the carbon dioxide, morning he has said it was in, you can see this one 1990 it was about 380, now it has become about 415 milligram. So carbon dioxide has increased substantially. Now this has got an effect especially in the marine ecosystem. I will come back to you at a later stage about this one. Now you can see this one again in China, followed by United States of America, Europe, and India is about 2,622. This is how the amount of carbon dioxide is increased over the years in this one. Now the next one is greenhouse gases. It may be carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, or fluorinated gases. It has increased substantially over the years. So these are responsible for the climate change. Now you can see this one. There is, look at this China, world's largest emitter of the greenhouse gases, is yet to submit their report. We have already submitted, India has already submitted in advance. We are containing our carbon dioxide level. We are containing our greenhouse gases level, whereas China and the United States of America is yet to submit, and these are the gases, and that is how we have status report of India has already gone to United Nations. Now, the next one is, look at this one, increase in the sea level. It is mainly because of 28 trillion tons of ice in 23 years has completely melted. And because of this melting of the ice in the glaciers, we have increased the level of the sea rise. There is a sea level rise increased to about 4 centimeters. And if it continues to a larger extent, you can see at a later stage also, you can see this one. In 2023, the global mean sea level is 101.2 millimeters, that is 4 inches above 1993. So this is how the sea level rise has increased substantially over the years. So this has got an impact. At a later stage, I will tell you. Now you can see this one. What are these ones? The first one is China is going to be affected, followed by India, Bangladesh, Vietnam. These are the 10 countries which are likely to be affected above the sea level. Especially the Bangladesh is likely to be affected because it is at a low level. And India especially, I will show you in my next slide. You can see this one, Bangladesh. This is the entire Sundarban area of the West Bengal. As a result of the sea level change, you can see this one, entire mangroves. The mangrove in the entire area is completely lost. You can see the mangrove level in the various stages. The mangrove has completely changed, and as a result of the sea level changes, and many of the smaller islands is likely to be submerged in future. You see, people are affected. Lot of people are affected, and they have become what we call the climate refugees. They have become climate refugees. You can see this one. They have become climate refugees in their own place. They have lost their identity, and you can see the number of deaths also. Disaster in 2019. You can see this one also. So there's a large number of deaths is mainly because of the sea level change and cyclones and all the other climate factors. So there's a report, UN report. This is the only one tiger in the entire world living in a mangrove area, in a marshy area, and if we are likely to lose by 2050 if this climate change continues. Because most of the islands, because they hop from one island to another island for collecting the food material. So if it submerges, then we are likely to lose this particular Royal Bengal tiger. This is the situation if the climate change continues. And how about the other areas? You see the Gulf of Kutch, which is it may be Poshitra, it may be Gulf of Kutch or Narara and other places. Gear Foundation has given me this one. You can see large number of areas, and most of the corals in that particular Gulf of Kutch has completely inundated and lost. Now we are translocating the Gulf of Kutch corals. We have taken a project on translocating the Gulf, that is the corals in the Gulf of Kutch. So this is what happens if there is an increase in the sea level or a change in the sea surface temperature also. Now how about Maharashtra? Look at the Maharashtra. The amount of fishes that is caught has come down, mainly because of the climate change. You can see this one, nearly about 4.5% has come down, 50% decline in their annual fish catch. It is mainly because of the climate change. Now, all of us know the South India, especially the Gulf of Mannar, Tamil Nadu, that is Rameshwaram area. It is made up of about 21 islands, smaller islands, 21 islands. Now there are only 19 islands. We have lost 2 islands already. Now you can see this one, the level it was in 1969, it was 20.08 hectares. And when you come down to this one, in 20, it is 3.6 hectares. That means we have lost all the area mainly because of the increase in the height or what is sea level change. So this is what happens, and then the entire plants and animals in that area is completely lost. So vulnerability index has been calculated, and you can see this red form, and all these are vulnerable, especially in the west coast we are safe. West coast is comparatively safe than the eastern coast, and the most vulnerable area is the the West Bengal and the Bangladesh and some parts of Andhra Pradesh also. This is what happens when there is a climate change. And now look at the other one important is acidification. The carbon dioxide is increased substantially. Carbon dioxide reacts with the water. It becomes a weak acid, namely carbonic acid, H2CO3. Again H2CO3, again it becomes hydrogen ions and carbonate ions. And these bicarbonate ions acts on the seashells, especially the crustaceans and mollusks, and that has comparatively. In addition to that one, you can see that 8.18 was the pH at one particular time in 1880. Now you can see that it has come down to about 8.06. The pH level has comparatively come down because of the acidification of the oceans. And this has got a lot of impact on the marine ecosystem, the animals and plants, especially the ascidians and the corals and all the shelled animals has completely impacted, mainly because of the climate change. Now, you can see that seashells, lot of seashells, it has become thinner and thinner. And mainly because there is what is known as the carbonic acid there. And you can see that one, about 33% of the corals are in danger. So this is one of the important, if you go to Southeast Asia, this is the oyster shell, which fetches you a lot of material. Now the oyster shell has come down, and now our economy of the fishermen has completely come down, mainly because of this one also. Now you can see this one, you can see the molluscan production has comparatively come down in recent years, mainly because of the acidification of the water, and this one has been given by various organizations also. Now, the entire, if you look at the scenario of the Indian export performance, though it has increased to $7,759.58 million, now many of them, especially the mollusks, the number of mollusks that is caught in that one has really come down in recent years. It is mainly because of the climate change. Now, you can see the other one important factor that affects the climate change is the current inside the ocean. This is what you call the ocean current, and this ocean current is responsible. That's the current movement of the current going up and down, upwelling and downwelling of this current, and this is also responsible because of the climate change in the climate. Now you can see this one, the uneven heating of the earth causes the convection current to create the prevailing winds of the ocean currents. So as a result of it, there is a current change or the ocean current change, and these are the impact of ocean current change. Now, to give you more important, these are some of the important on the marine life, how the current changes. Ocean current has impacted also. You can see upwelling and downwelling. As a result of it, the nutrients will come up, and some of the nutrients will go down. Hydrogen sulfide will come up because the carbon dioxide has increased H2S, free hydrogen ions will meet with the sulfur, becomes H2S, and that will be more dangerous for the animals. So the number of plants and animals, because of the upwelling and downwelling of these gases, there will be a lot of changes that are going to occur. There is a phytoplankton and zooplankton, smaller organisms like smaller animals and plants. This is likely to be affected. When these are affected, the fish population is completely disappearing. It mainly depends on, many of them are dependent upon the phytoplankton and zooplankton. When once it moves away from that place, people have to go to a larger area to cover and collect the fishes. So this is one of the important. As a result of movement of the larger area, you are spending a lot of money on your diesel. You are spending a lot of money on your diesel. And because of the diesel, and also getting lesser number of fishes, and we are likely to have a large number of impacts also. This is yet another impact that we can see. The third one is phosphate, nitrate, and other things. There will be a change in the phosphate, nitrate content of the ocean because of the climate change. And because these climate change, these are nutrients have changed, the phytoplankton, zooplankton variations has been occurred, which affect indirectly with the fish population. So this is yet another important aspect of the climate change. Now look at, there are some toxic gases are released. Because of the toxic gases, fishes are dead. Fishes are dying. Large number of fishes you have seen in the lakes, and you have seen in the lakes during the summer period. Large number of fishes are dying. It's mainly because of the toxic gases. These toxic gases are not released from down. It's also released from down, especially from the algal blooms, the green algae. What this happens is, these green algae covers the gill rakers, the gills, and they cannot respire at all. Because of the absence of the respiration, the fishes will die. So especially because of the climate change, we are observing many of these ones, especially the toxic algae. Now, that's what I said also. This is the Gulf of Mannar near Rameshwaram. There are 21 islands, and some of the islands have completely lost. That is a lethal spread of also an algae, that is Tepaphysius invasive seaweed. So this has completely created a condition, and that is the reason why we are having the climate change studies in this particular area. So ocean current, you can look at this in ocean current, the impact of the ocean current on various organisms. Now look, they are moving, people are moving away from their place to collect fishes. So this is one of the important, is the fish catch has completely come down. That is the reason why in the morning, as I said that one, what is known as the poverty alleviation. poverty alleviation. This is mainly because of the climate change. Now, there's one more thing. You can see this one also, the carbon dioxide, and it has reduced the size. Many of the risers, you can see this one also, many of the fishes have completely lost. Fish has been lost in the market. Important fishes have completely lost in the market, mainly because of the carbon dioxide, or what we call it as acidification. Now, you can see this one, number of fish catch has come down substantially, and number of fishes size also has come down substantially, is mainly because of the acidification of the sea water. Now, you can see this one, and you can see the size of the animal has come down substantially because of the acidification of the sea water. And you can see this one, you can completely, this is a part from our own, from Uttara Kannada, Karwar area. You can see the global warming results in the increase in the sea surface temperature. As a result of which, a smaller pelagics have increased. Instead of the fisherman goes to the ocean to collect the fishes, instead of collecting the huge size fishes, he collects only the small size fishes, which will yield less amount for him. So this is what has happened mainly because of the climate change. Now, this has been completely proved. This is a golden toad, and in Costa Rica is completely lost, extinct, no more available. And this is mainly, it has been clearly claimed because of the climate change, because of the water quality has completely lost. This is completely, it is over the years. In 2000, it has completely no single animal is available. It is mainly because of the coast, what is known as the climate change. Now, if you go to the ocean, there are 7 different types of what is known as the sea turtles. You can see the different type of sea turtles, and this sea turtles develops. Sex determination is by the sex chromosomes, but development is something different. So we have done the experiment on the cooling and the increasing the temperature of the sand, because they lay the eggs inside the soil. Inside the soil, when the temperature decreases, there are more number of what is known as the male. When the temperature 1 degree increase, there are more number of females. So there is a sex ratio has completely altered, mainly because of the increase in the temperature, and this has been attributed mainly because of the climate change. So we have done this experiment also, and you can see that one projected response of the endangered marine turtle population because of the climate change. There will be more number of females rather than males. Sex determination is conducted, but this is mainly because of what we call the climate change. Now, you can see this one, more number of females coming out in the area. There is an area in Orissa where millions and millions and billions of turtles come, olive ridleys will come, and then some of them will go to Thailand and Costa Rica also. So it travels. You can see this one. It travels how much? 7,000 miles into 1.6 is the kilometers. You can imagine how much kilometer they travel. So they travel so much kilometers in the entire, from South America, or even from Costa Rica, or from some other what is on the West Indies. It comes to breed in India. It breeds in what is known as the Andaman Islands. It breeds in Malaysia. It breeds in some of the Southeast Asian. So it travels to the extent of 7,000 miles. So you can see how much of them are lost because of the climate change. Now you can see this is the olive ridleys. This is one which comes from, you can see, we have calculated by satellite tracking, the zoological survey of India, which I am working. We have got a group of scientists who are working upon by tagging them and satellite tracking them. It comes to about 9,417 kilometers it has traveled. We have caught some of them in what we call it as a Sri Lanka. We have caught them back in their own place. So it travels. So we have found them in Orissa. And some of them even Karnataka also. Very rarely it comes, where we come across the olive ridleys. So this is how. If you look at the birds, the bird migration, all of you know about the bird migration. There are different types of migration. There are 8 different types of migration. We have got what we call as the Asian, here is India. We have got what is known as Central Asia migration. So because of the climate change in the Himalayan belt, it is affected. So the migration of the species is completely affected. So this is, you can see another example. It is not our Indians. This is because of the climate change. The breeding season has completely changed. Now you can see that one, 24 days has been advanced In 5 years, we have seen that one. That's the reason the breeding has been completely affected, mainly because of the climate change. There are 9 species of birds in the United States of America has been affected because of the spring season, early springs. Spring is coming much earlier than that one. Because of that one, it has been affected, and this is one of the impacts. So there is a lot of, in about a few days back, May 15 and October 14, we always have World Migratory Bird Day in 2023, and wherein we refer water is the most important aspect. We need to conserve them, we need to protect them. So many of the mammals also, there are many mammals which are affected because of the climate change. Now, yet another factor of the climate change is the ozone hole. I will not go into the detail about the ozone hole. It takes again a long time. So you can see this one, various years, the ozone layers in the Antarctica, because we regularly, every year or every alternate year, we send people from our own organization to Antarctica to study the animals there. So we have found out the ozone hole there. So we have found out there are a lot of changes in the ozone hole. Because of that ozone hole, the entire animal scenario has completely changed in the East one. So what has happened is none other than United Nations Secretary General on 5th September 2008. The impact of the climate change are devastating, and we need climate action. We need climate action to prevent ever greater crisis. We must act with a greater ambition and urgency. The new climate economy report shows how. That means in 2022, they have given how we can act upon that one. So what are that one changes that has occurred? You see, air temperature has increased. You can see that the increase in the air temperature, increase in the sea level rise, sea surface temperature, ocean heat content. You can see the decreased polar ice, and you can see the net decrease in the global ice content, increase in the water vapor, increase in the atmospheric temperature. These are the changes that we have seen because of the climate change. So, at what level this climate change occurs? It can occur at a genetic level, it can occur at a species level, it can affect at the ecosystem level. There are 3 levels in which the climate change can occur: at the genetic level, the species level, and the ecosystem level. Now, we have found out in the 21st century ecological sensitivity of the entire area, and there are various changes that have occurred because of the climate change. That is what we call it as ecosystem changes, is mainly because of the climate change. Now, you can ask me a question, what exactly an ecosystem? Ecosystem is nothing but an interaction between the plants, animals, or living and non-living organisms, and with the entire interaction as a functional unit. This is the definition of an ecosystem. And this we have different type of ecosystem. We have different type of forest ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, desert ecosystem, mountain ecosystem, wetland, estuaries, mangroves, all are affected mainly because of the climate change. All systems, ecosystem, name any ecosystem India has got. From the high altitudes of Himalaya down to Kanyakumari, we have all types of ecosystem, all are affected mainly because of the climate change. Now, these are the services that the ecosystem gives. The one is on the provisioning, second one is the regulating, the cultural is the third one. And this is the most important. The regulating, the climate change is the regulating aspect of it. So that affects the basic material for good and life, and indirectly affects the freedom and choice of the human being. So this is how the climate change has affected. So the entire thing, if there is vegetation and ecosystem services, climate change, all are interrelated, and these are mainly because of the human impact, anthropocentric changes that affect. I'll come back to lastly, I'll come back to within a few slides about the marine ecosystem, because this is where I work. This is the marine ecosystem. This is a natural capital. Here are the list of items that marine ecosystem helps. It may be ecological services or the economic services. These are the marine ecosystem. It is the capital for a marine system. Now there are something like that one. The most important thing is, you can see 20% of the human population live around the marine ecosystem, seas and oceans. 20% of the human population live within the 30 kilometers of the sea. and nearly double the number and 100-kilometer range. So large number of people are related with the human or living around the ecosystem, especially the marine ecosystem. And that acts as a recreation. It helps in recreation, tourism, and medium of transport, respiratory for the genetic and biological information, and sinks for the waste. This is an important aspect of a marine ecosystem. And you can see that one, Earth's surface, it covers about 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by what we call the marine ecosystem. You can see how much people are living around the coastal zones. You can see how many people are living around the coastal zone. So if there is any change in the marine ecosystem, these people are affected. And most important, you can see that Bangladesh is likely to be affected because it's almost a flat. It's almost sea level. It's almost in the sea level than Cambodia, China, and India. India is almost on the fourth stage. So this is how our entire ecosystem is affected. Now, in the marine ecosystem, there are subdivisions like coral reef, mangroves, seaweeds, and seagrass. In the marine ecosystem also, we have subdivisions like the seagrass ecosystem, seaweed ecosystem, and the mangrove ecosystem, and the coral reef ecosystem. These are the ecosystems that are prevalent in the marine area. Now, look at this one. These are the area that is covered by 9 states and 4 union territories in our marine area or coastal India. These are affected mainly because of that one. And this is the entire group of animals that are found. Nearly about 21,663 animals, species is not the number, this is the species number. So you can see that one, species of biological diversity, especially animals I am telling you, not the plants. I am mainly concerned with the animals. So this is mainly about 22,000 species of animals are living inside our area. So this is the diversity what we have got will be affected mainly because of the sun. Now, I was working upon the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You can see that one way back in 2010, we have calculated only 9,600 species are present. But now, last week only, I compiled another one, given another this one. Now it has come to 1,04,000. Andaman is about 11,000 species of animals are present. So that means that we have increased mainly because we did not know much about it. We again recalculated. We found out where our loopholes are there, and we increased. So you can see that one, the most important area is the Andaman and Nicobar. Now, in this Andaman and Nicobar, you can see the seagrass ecosystem, or the entire area. You can see the seagrass ecosystem. This is most important area. It acts as a carbon sink. It attracts all the carbon. It acts as a carbon sink. There are about 7 genera, 6 families, nearly about 114 species, out of which Andaman Nicobar has got nearly about 10 species of this one. Now you can see this one. These are the number of species that are present around that India. I have marked that one. So 70 million years old, we have got a terrestrial tree grass which has migrated. So normally there is a migration from the marine to freshwater, freshwater to terrestrial. But this is a reverse that has happened. From the terrestrial, it has gone to the freshwater to the marine ecosystem. So we have got a 70 billion years history about them. And then is a crucial role in combating the climate change, enduring the food security, protecting the coastal line, and enhancing the biodiversity. This is one of the important aspects of the seagrass ecosystem. And you can see this is a major sink, carbon sink. It attracts all the carbon there. And it is an area wherein the largest, namely the dugongs, largest mammals, dugongs are there. And we have got a dugong survey with millions and millions of dollars have been poured into this one to find out how many dugongs are there, where they are distributed around Gulf of Mannar, Andaman Nicobar Island. We have got a project on this one also. So we are working upon this one, the dugongs, the marine mammals. So large number of marine mammals feed upon the grass. That is the seagrass ecosystem. This is one of the important aspects of it. Now, other one is some of the what we call as holothurians, sea cucumbers. Sea cucumbers, many of you may not be knowing it. There was a project given to me way back in 2006 to 2007. There is a large number of sea cucumbers are collected and sent to Southeast Asia. They are sent to Southeast Asia. If you go to Southeast Asia like Thailand, Singapore and other, even including China, Vietnam and other places, 1 cup of soup from this sea cucumber will cost you nearly about $80 to $100. $80 to $100. So it was taken away from us. So I was given a project to see whether it is sustainable or non-sustainable. We went inside the ocean, dived inside the water, and found out whether it's how many sea cucumbers are there. What is it? We have taken a grid analysis. We have made 1 meter by 1 meter. We have found out how many are there, and then we have given a representation to the government of India. It is not sustainable at all. We cannot use it at all. So, and then government of India has completely banned now. No more sea cucumbers are exported from India outside the country, collected at all. So this is how there is a large number of sea cucumbers, and you can see that one, the number of species are present in that particular area. So you can imagine how much it will be affected if there is a change either in the carbon dioxide, acidification, or nutrient cycling, or various sea surface temperatures. The second one is known as seaweed. The second system is known as seaweed. There are a large number of seaweeds which belongs to a group of algae. What is known as, it could be a brown algae, red algae, or a green algae. Ceophyceae, rhorophyceae, chlorophyceae. So these are different types of an algae that are present. So these are algae that are the glacial area, or this one. There are a large number of species of algae that are present in our sea also, and that will be affected. Now this is, you can see this one. This is one, if you go to south, what we call it as our Rameshwaram area, this has substantially increased recently, mainly the Kstacademy. You can see this one, and this is what has happened. So the number of algae has increased. Kstacademy has increased substantially. It is a green algae, so it has increased substantially. It is mainly, it is not our country. It is an alien species coming from the other country. It has an alien species that has increased substantially over the years, mainly because of the climate change. So these are some of the important aspects of it. These algae, these are the functions of many of these algae, what exactly it does it, and how they are used medicinally also. Many of these algae are important medicinally also, so that is happened. The next important aspect in the sea ecosystem is the mangroves. Most of you are well aware of the mangroves. Mangrove ecosystem. Mangroves is a group of plants which are salt tolerating plants. It can withstand the various salinity gradients from 0.5 or 5 milligrams per liter to 34 milligrams or 35 milligrams per liter. So there is a variation in the salt content in the coastal area, especially where the rivers meet the sea. Estuarine area, we call them estuarine area. There, for example, if you go to Pavanje in Bengaluru area, or Uttar Kannada and Dakshina Kannada, so we have large number of areas. Or if you go to Sundarban, it is the largest mangroves in the world. Sundarban is the largest mangroves in the world, including Bangladesh and India, largest mangroves in the world. So we have got a mangrove ecosystem. And these are, if it is known, this is always known as what called the roots of the sea. Now this is a very important ecosystem. You can see this one, it protects the shores. These ecosystem, it breaks the water current. It cuts the water current, and this is how it winds and waves of the water currents are cut. It protects the soil. Soil erosion is protected. You can see the coral reefs are helped, and supply of the wood, many of the wood material, and also what is known as the medicinal properties are there. So they are all from the what we call it as the mangrove ecosystem. And you can see how nature-based engineering, a review on reducing the coastal impact, is mainly because of the mangrove ecosystem. Now you can see that mangrove ecosystem in Florida, you can see how much they earn also, and from this one, from this mangroves, and what are the uses. You can see that it helps in fisheries, it helps in cleaning the water, carbon stores, coastal protection, and ecotourism. So we go to what is known as the Sundarbans, mainly to see that entire area. So coastal tourism is one of the important aspects. They allow it also. Now there are different type of mangroves. Some of them are salt tolerant, some of them are salt absorbent, some of them are salt removal from them. So there are various salt accumulators, and salt nematophores are there, shooting the roots are there, and roots will come out with a lot of salt content. If the salt content is excess, they remove the salt from them and throw out. So these are some of the important aspects, and you can see the adaptations of these mangroves. So you can see this one, we have got, these are the areas where we come across, starting from Andhra Pradesh, and the highest is in West Bengal. Mangroves is the highest in West Bengal, followed by Gujarat, and then by the Andaman and Nicobar. You can see the Gujarat is 1117, there are 616 square kilometers is what we call it as in West Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So everywhere there is a disappearing of mangroves, except India. India, it has increased substantially in recent years by 1.2% in India. This is what we have seen in the mangrove ecosystem. And these are various animals that are present along the mangroves. I will not go into the detail about it. So you can see some of the animals, and these are the number of species that are present in the mangrove area, nearly about 3,111 species. So you can see. Now I am relating this mangrove area into the cyclone. There are super cyclones. You can see cyclones during 1770 or 1839 or 1999. How many people have died? And wherever mangroves were there, the number of people, death of the mangrove people has comparatively come down, because it breaks the current, it breaks the wind, it breaks the what is known as the cyclonic storm. So because of that one, you can see this one also, how many people are affected and what are the dates in which they were affected. You can see 1935 in Calcutta were affected. And because of the mangroves, people were completely this one. And I hope you know that one about the 2004, 26th of December, there was what is known as a tsunami. 2004, December 26, early morning, and there was a tsunami, and the entire coast was devastated. Large number of people died in Madras area, Chennai area, and down south also. 118,000 people were died, nearly. That is a recorded one. How many unknown deaths, we do not know about it. And wherever mangroves were there, they were protected. Even in Andaman and Nicobar also, immediately after the cyclonic storm or tsunami, I went to Andaman and Nicobar by a special flight, because the government of India has arranged for a special flight for all of us. And we made a survey of that entire area, covering what has happened to the entire animal and the people also. We have found that one, wherever there are mangroves, people survive. In 2002 also, there was super cyclone in Orissa, and the people survived because of that mangroves. So wherever mangroves, so that is the reason Honorable the late Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Jayalalitha, said, why don't you grow mangroves all along? It's impossible. You cannot grow mangroves all along. Wherever there is an estuarine area, wherever an area where the water, fresh water meets the ocean, then only we can grow that one, and nowhere else we can grow. So we cannot grow mangroves everywhere. We cannot grow mangroves everywhere, and this is what has happened in that area also. So you look at this one, the disaster in 2004 on 26th of December. So large number of people died, nearly about 200,000, particularly in North Sumatra area, is completely down because there was no mangrove area and at all. And cyclone or whatever tsunami was very close to them also. That's why they have lost their lives. So this is what has happened. Mangroves have an important agent to reduce the speed or current and thus devastating. So that is the reason we call mangroves as bioshields. We call mangroves as a shield that protect the human being. So you can see them, mangrove area, and these we call it as a bioshield for tsunami or when a cyclone affected area. Now the next one, the last one, is the coral reefs. Corals, hope you know, most of you, these are present only in some areas, not in all the areas. They are present in the coral reef, and they are known as the Indonesia, Australia as the largest, and you can see that India comes on the 4th position. So India is about 5,190 kilometers of the coral reef. That is 2% of the total of the entire area is this one. Now you also know that one, about 33% of the corals are endangered species, and that is the reason why we are, whenever you go to seashore, you are not allowed to collect any coral. You put them under the schedule, Wildlife Schedule Act. Nobody can collect a coral there. Nobody can collect and bring it them. If you are caught, you will be charged with 25,000 to 3 lakh rupees with a 3 years imprisonment. So don't bring any coral from anywhere. If you go to what is on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands or anywhere in the seashore, sometimes they may give it also, but don't collect it. If you are caught, then you are legally punishable for that one. This is because we have kept them. Similarly, there is one. There are 5 species. There are 5 species in the world that is known as a very, very old, 30 million years old animal is there. That is distributed only between the Orissa and West Bengal, nowhere else. 2 species are distributed. So they were coming here, collecting them because it has got bioactive components. And these bioactive components are used for curing cancer. So they used to come and collect. So what we did was, we stopped collecting them. We stopped collecting them, put them on the Wildlife Protection Act. So when once it comes under the Wildlife Protection Act, nobody can catch them. So that is how we make the, since I am a member of a Wildlife Board of India, now at present I am Board of Governor in the Wildlife Institute of India, we take care of these aspects of it, how to protect our own animals and plants and what is known as the protect area network, and we give them a suggestion. We are only an advisory body. We don't act at all. We give suggestions only, and it is only the state government that needs to be implemented. State government has to implement it, and it's only an advisory body. So we give them the entire thing. So these are, you can see them. These are different type of corals. You can see the different type of corals. This is the largest coral in Andaman and Nicobar. You can see the largest coral. There are flat bottom vessels, glass vessels. You can see them and see the, either you can snorkel, go inside, deep inside, or you can see them in a glass bottle. If you go to what we call it as the coral reef in Australia, there is a boat which will take you inside the water, where you can see the large number of corals and coral associates, plants and animals are there. So you can see them. This is the largest coral that is present in Andaman and Nicobar Island. So there are only 4 areas in India which we have got coral reef. One is Andaman and Nicobar, second one is Lakshadweep, third one is Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat, and fourth is Tamil Nadu, Gulf of Mannar. These are the 4 areas where we have coral reef. But we also identified some area in Malvan coast, in Maharashtra, Orissa coast also we have identified, and recently we know that one, of course quite a long back, it was known earlier, but we have made an investigation, and very close to Karwar, there is an island, Netrani Island, and around the Netrani Island we have got a large number of people are coming, and it has become an ecotourism spot, mainly because it's a coral area. A very large, a limited number of corals are there. Nearly about 484 species are distributed in India. There are about 40 species are only there in Netrani Island. So we have found that one in the Karnataka also, this coral reef. So this is how the coral reef are present. One is Andaman and Nicobar Island. This is the Lakshadweep. The entire Lakshadweep is formed from the corals. It's a coral island. The entire island itself is based upon the corals. Coral is nothing but a group of animals, and they secrete calcium carbonate below. So that becomes a very big one and becomes an island, and this is how Lakshadweep is formed. And Gulf of Kutch, if you look at the entire scenario of the world, there is a range, the northern range and the southern range. The highest range is the Gulf of Kutch, where we can see corals also. So this is the highest range, or the northern range, between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, that are present between these two, and with the central equatorial region. So this is present, and this is the highest range of the largest, the taller area where we can come across the Gulf of Kutch. So this is how we have got. You can see the Andaman coral reef, and this coral reef. One important thing you need to understand the coral reef is, it is an animal. This animal is associated with a plankton, plant. A coral is an association, what we call it a symbiotic association of plants and animals. What is symbiosis? You know that one. They give food, they give protection, like that one. So this is a symbiotic association. So this is how a coral is formed. Down below you have got calcium carbonate shells, or calcium carbonate. So what happens when the sea surface temperature increases? When the temperature increases, or carbon dioxide with the water, carbonic acid increases, these algae will go away. These algae will be removed from that place, and corals become white. If it is continued, it is going to die. Coral death. So these are the symbiotic corals or the symbiotic associations of a plant and animals. So this is how, this is now, look and look here, these animals, these plants have completely lost, and as a result of which it has become white. This is known as the bleaching of the corals. This is known as the bleaching of the corals, mainly because of the acidification of sea surface temperature, increasing sea surface temperature. So you can imagine how much we are going to likely to get from this one. Okay, these are the north and south. I told you about it. This is the equator. That is what is known as the Pacific region. And this is down below. So they are all present along the equator only. The coral reef is actually present along the equator. Now you can see these have become white in color, or what is known as the coral bleach has occurred. This is an example from Gulf of Mannar, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 2022 also. 2022 is the highest surface temperature. Water surface temperature increased substantially. So we have seen large number of area has become white in color, and sometimes again recolonize also. The plants or the phytoplankton recolonize, they give again become live. They give beautiful colors, and you can see that one. So coral reefs in India have undergone 3 mass bleachings and events since 1982. Surprise bleaching spotted in the deeper coral reefs of the Indian Ocean likely